Hello, welcome student. Welcome to another class of English literature, and today we'll begin with brief history of English literature from 1500 to 1745. We begin our session with some text of poetry and some poems, but today we'll begin with the history of English literature, a brief history. First of all, let's discuss why do we need history of English literature in our syllabus. So it's very clear, because as in general also we need history to study, and the basic idea why do we need it is what we are today is the consequence of our history or of our past. If we don't understand the history, how can we understand the situation and circumstances and the scenario of today's society? So same goes with the English literature also, because we are studying literature, so we are studying modern literature also. So literature is today whatever it is, somehow more or less it is the consequence or the result of the history. So how did it begin and how it turned also in past? So let's begin. Here it is given Chaucer in 1400. After the death of Chaucer, a long period of time, especially till 1500, it is considered generally a barren period of English literature, because during this time it is said that not a very fruitful or productive work in literature was done. Though it's not completely true, after deep studies and researches it came into light that it was not completely a barren period of literature. Poetry was written during this period also, and it can be divided also in two parts. It's given also here. First is courtly or official or Chaucerian poetry, that is basically Chaucerian because Chaucer also used to write in court, not for the common people to write to anyone. And second one is popular or folk poetry. So here basically popular or folk poetry means the same. Folk is actually whichever or whatever is popular among the people or folk people. The second kind of poetry that flourished in this age, it was rich in. So basically the form of that kind of poetry was ballad, lyric, carol, etc. That could be sung actually. The basic form of writing was the songs. In the opening years of 16th century, some courtiers of the court of Henry VIII started a new era of writing short poems or song dealing with love. So it's very obvious, like change is, it's a principle of nature that everything will just get changed. What kind of poetry it started with, then it turned into, and during the time of Henry VIII, love poetry came into existence, and especially the short poetry or short poems these were. The poets included Sir Thomas Yat, Henry Howard, and Earl of Surrey, and especially two names are here that you will remember for always. Sir Thomas Yat and Earl of Surrey, these two people are credited to bring the sonnets, especially a poem of 14 lines, and especially the English sonnet came into existence because of these two. They introduced this form into England or in English. They tried to renew English words and sought their inspiration as well as models in Italy. So basically the sonnet is the form of poem that was borrowed from Italy. It was only through them that influence of the Renaissance first reached English poetry. They paved the way of the further advancement of English poetry at the hands of Philip Sidney, Edmund Spenser, and William Shakespeare. These are the later poets after Thomas Yat and Earl of Surrey. They flourished that kind of poetry. That love poem or the short poems were especially sonnets in their form. And after these two, Sidney, Spenser, and Shakespeare, all these flourished this. This age is also rich in drama. So it was not only with the poems, but this age, especially we are talking about not completely 100 years only. This age means the Renaissance period was also rich in drama. So poems were not only form of literature, dramas were also major there. So let's begin with Renaissance period. There has been given a kind of division during the period. It's very obvious, and for especially in English literature, or maybe it goes with other literatures also, it will be helpful. And not helpful, it is very obvious that during the time, this period basically of English literature, history of English literature is divided. In general, it was divided according to the rules or the reign period of different kings and queens. So first it is divided into 1500 to 1660. It is a general as a whole division. Renaissance is a French word which means rebirth, revival and reawakening. First of all, Renaissance word is very obvious and essential to be understood. It's a French word and which means rebirth, reawakening. Something is coming again or reviving again or recreated again. It is generally used to describe the period of 1350 to 1660. See, the division of the period, don't be ever confused with these dates and years, because it's very obvious some contrast or different span of time has been given in different books of histories. So it is it is mentioned also, generally used to describe from 1350 to 1660 in Europe. It began in Italy as early as 14th century. So it was not so that Renaissance only took place in England. No, it came after a very long time. It began in in Italy in 14th century. See, and almost after 150 or 200 years later, almost, it came to England. The work of Petrarch, and from there it traveled to France. So it began or originated or emerged or took place in Italy, then it reached to France, then Germany, and finally reached England at the age as late as the last years of 15th and the opening of 16th century. So almost we can say round about 200 years it took come to England. Renaissance was both a revival of ancient classical methodology, literature, culture, as well as reawakening of human mind after a long sleep of dark middle age of wonder, the glory and the beauty of human body and the world of nature. So it was not only the revival of literary piece or the writings, but human mind, reawakening of human mind after a long sleep of dark middle age, when people were ignorant, were not knowledgeable, or were not aware of so many things, were not enlightened towards the reality of society or the world. So reawakening in mind and thinking were also there. It was a rediscovery by mankind of oneself and of the world. It was a revival of the cult of beauty, the beauty of women, the beauty of nature and the beauty of art and literature. So it is a very general meaning how you can explain the Renaissance period is given here. So here first the major division of period is given here and known as Elizabethan age, and it is again a part of English literature that cannot be avoided. You cannot study English literature without Elizabethan age. So it is divided into from 1558 to 1603, the reign of Queen Elizabeth I in England. So it was the period when the Queen was ruling England, Elizabeth I. The latter half of the 16th century is known as Elizabethan age in English literature. It is one of the richest period of history of England. Not only English literature, richest or golden period of English literature, and also of England, history of England. It is rightly called the golden period in the history of England as well as that of English literature. As I told you already, golden period for both English literature and for England itself. In this age, Renaissance was in its full flowering. So you can say it was at the peak. The reawakening, the recreation and the rebirth was at its peak during this period. The age witnessed the rise and growth of the feeling of patriotism and nationalism among people, and brought about an unprecedented growth in almost all the phases of its variegated life. It was an era of social, political, religious peace, along with great adventure, travel, discovery, which fired the imagination of the people and encouraged them to create something new. So it's clear that it witnessed. So this was the time and this was the period. There was rise, like people were full of patriotic feeling. Nationalism was there. They were doing everything. They were able to and willing to do anything for their nation, and that can be anything. The overseas, sorry, the overseas voyages took place. Discoveries of land was there. Discoveries of land, because overseas voyages were there. People were just going overseas through ships. So lands were discovered, and almost all the phases of life were flourishing. You can say anything, whether it is education, whether it is business, whether it is religion, everywhere was a reawakening also only. Social, political and religious peace. Peace, you can say, it's not only that only people were satisfied in this age, no, but because this was the age when people began to question, and when they found the answers and when they became satisfied, so peace took place. So in this way, social, political and religious peace was there. Adventure, travel, discovery, that I already told you. Imagination of the people and encourage them to create something new. And all these things all together, like traveling, discovery of lands, and the feeling of adventure, religious, political, social peace, these all together encouraged humanity of that time, encouraged people or mass of that period to create something new. Because one people is doing something, one person is doing something, other was getting inspired. One person is going for business out of his country, other one also inspired that I am also willing to do something for my country. So in that way, everyone was ready to do something new, to find something new, to develop and to create something new. So this was the essence of this age, Elizabethan age. Now let me tell you again that we basically are studying Renaissance period, but this a long period of time is divided into different ages, and generally these ages are named after the queen or kings they ruled during the time. So first one we studied here, Elizabethan age. Yes, so Elizabethan age, because we are studying history of English literature especially, so during this period, during Elizabethan period, what kind of poetry or other forms of literature took place? First of all, we'll discuss about Elizabethan poetry. So Elizabethan age is considered actually better to flow rather than individual poets. On the basis of subject matter, structure and form of poetry, we can divide Elizabethan poetry in 5 notions. So we can divide, so this division again, it is not kind of universal division. You may find 4 division at some places, 3 or 5, it can differ, but in general these were the types of poetry took place: narrative poetry, Elizabethan lyrics and songs, the sonnet, the licentious poetry, silver poets of 16th century. The first one is given here, narrative poetry. The long narrative poetry of time chiefly belonged to Spenser, Daniel and Breton, each of whom produced one of the longest poem of period, and then moved on to a consideration of Elizabethan songs and lyrics. Narrative poetry, actually a narration, if you acquainted with this term, narration is form of action. Narration generally related to the telling stories. When one person narrate, or someone narrate an incident or narrate something, so this form was of poetry, and especially the basic characteristic of this kind of poetry, it is lengthy, long in its structure. Samuel Daniel's The Civil War, which was published in 1595 and divided in 8 cantos and running in 7 1000 lines. This is the length of poetry. See, 7000 lines. How lengthy narrative poetry could be. And Michael Drayton's Polyolbion, which was divided in 30 cantos, running over 1 lakh lines and took over 15 years for its completion. And one of the very well known, one of the best known, Spenser's The Faerie Queene. That is also said that this Faerie Queene was Queen Elizabeth herself, which was first published in 1590, are the best example of the long narrative poetry. Next type is Elizabethan lyrics and song. Along with the drama, lyrics is the chief glory of Elizabethan period. These are actually songs, and these songs are generally glorifying the queen or glorifying the nation. The glory was the basic theme there. It is the golden age, not to drama only but lyrics as well. Robert Greene, Thomas Lodge, Michael Drayton, Thomas Champion, Samuel Daniel, Christopher Marlowe, etc. are some of the chief lyricists of this period. So these were the name given here who primarily wrote lyrics or the songs. Third one is, and the important one also you will study, and this is very common in English literature, love poem or short poem, sonnet and sonneteers. Sonnet. So it is a form of poetry, let me tell you. This is the poem of 14 lines. And as we have discussed already here, so it's mentioned also, first transplanted into England by Thomas Yard in the early Elizabethan period and his friend Earl of Surrey. Later on, the form sonnet were practiced by Shakespeare also with a skilled hand. Skilled hands because he developed sonnet to that level and he flourished at that level that it came into existence after his name and called Shakespearean sonnet. Yard sonnets are inferior in quality. The songs and sonnets both were jointly published. Tottel's Miscellany in 1556. This Tottel's Miscellany in 1556 is actually a collection of sonnets by Thomas Yard and Earl of Surrey. So this is it for today's class, and in next session we will just continue after that. Thank you, class.